My friends, welcome back to the channel. We are taking a look at the Knipex Raptor pliers. These are some really funky looking pliers. And you guys know I don't like to bring you a tool unless I've used it myself and at least for a couple weeks and, you know, learn the ins and outs of it. And I have to say, these actually exceeded my expectations. And when I use them, I almost end up using them in place of my pliers wrench, which is kind of odd in some instances. So I want to kind of take a look at these and see if they could be a substitute or, you know, something like a combination, like a +1 to your pliers wrench. So everybody compares the pliers wrench or contrasts the pliers wrench to your regular adjustable wrench or your crescent wrench because it is really made to, and it really exceeds at turning hex fasteners. And now I will say, go ahead and say this and get it out of the way, these do a whole lot more than just turn hex fasteners, but that is the majority of what people are using these for. The Raptors, they are essentially another take on the same task. And I have to say, when it comes to turning hex style fasteners, these are actually your better choice than the pliers wrench. Now, the pliers wrench is certainly more versatile. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying that this is a better tool than this one because this is a single use tool. This is a multi-use tool. It's a versatile tool. The versatility of the Raptors are not even in the same ballpark. But if you are looking at these two tools, for turning hex style fasteners, I would almost say these are your go-to. Now, there are some pros and cons that we'll discuss. And the first thing, you know, that I want to do is kind of do like a little overview. So with the Raptors, obviously it's a much different style. And there are these other, they call them parrot beak pliers. You can get, you know, knockoffs and stuff like that of essentially the same thing, but the quality obviously isn't there. Now, the range on these is from 10 to 32 millimeter or from 3/8 up to 1 1/4 inch. With your 10-inch pliers wrench, you have essentially from 0 all the way up to 52 millimeters or up to 2 inches. So the capacity is much larger with your pliers wrench. Now, the benefit of the Raptors are you can get access to some close quarters areas that you can't get into with your pliers wrench. So while these don't have the same capacity that these do, obviously it's a smaller design. It's more sleek. The head profile is slimmer, which allows you to be able to reach areas that you may not be able to reach with your pliers wrench. And other than the profile of the business end, obviously there's two different takes there, but you also have a little bit more clearance. So with your 10-inch pliers wrench, you have this area here where your jaw works with that camming mechanism, which is pretty thick right there. If you compare that to the Raptors, obviously it's much thinner. So in terms of access, these are going to give you a lot more access than what a 10-inch pliers wrench is going to give you. Now, I have been using these, and I have to say that when it comes to turning the hex style fasteners, I think I actually like these Raptors to do that job better than I like the pliers wrench. And you still get that ratcheting action, of course, that you get with the pliers wrench. And it just seems like it's a lot more smooth than what you may get with your pliers wrench. Now, don't get me wrong, the pliers wrench works great. But, I mean, look how smooth the use is for these. I mean, I have found these to be really robust, and you get a ton of torque with this design. I feel like you get more torque with this design than what you do with the pliers wrench. And where the jaw is deeper with the pliers wrench, I find myself fumbling a lot. Well, not a lot, but a little more than what I do with the Raptors with these pliers wrench. Now, of course, you can get a hold of the fastener way in the back. You can get to it on, you know, the tips. And I mean, these work really, really well. Both of them have the smooth jaws, so you don't have to worry about damaging the fastener. Now, something that I've noticed with using these two is that the pliers wrench, you don't have, you can actually, if you have an obstruction, you can't clear it quite as easy with the pliers wrench just because of the head size. When you have the Raptors and you need to clear and you're working around an obstruction, it's a hell of a lot easier to get around those obstructions just because of the head profile. And I mean, in the ratcheting action of these is just so smooth. It's smooth on the pliers wrench too, but of course, again, if there was an obstruction here, then obviously you're going to have a tough time with that. Let's say if you have an obstruction here and here. So we have our fingers there, and we need to get, you can actually get between those obstructions with the parrot beak or the Raptor pliers easier than what you could with your pliers wrench. So we have this little area here, and even if you can clear, for instance, the obstruction, you just have more room to work around an obstruction with the Raptors than what you do with the 10-inch specifically pliers wrench. You just have more clearance. And again, I find that these even have just it feels like I can get more torque on a fastener with the Raptors, and I feel like I'm quicker with the Raptors. And I don't know if it's the design of it or the profile of it, but I am really, really digging these when it comes to using them for turning hex style fasteners. Now, the pliers wrench, they're the pliers wrench. They do a lot more than just turning hex style fasteners. They're an extremely versatile tool. Whereas your Raptors, they're not nearly as versatile as your pliers wrench. But if you are going to buy one of these tools specifically for turning bolts, hex style bolts, I would go with the Raptors over the pliers wrench if that's what you're buying the tool for. Now, if you want to incorporate your tool to do other things such as holding any type of material, including flat material, bending metal, turning other types of fasteners other than strictly hex fasteners, or if you need to turn a larger variety and you want that extra capacity, then of course your pliers wrench are definitely going to give you a lot more capacity than what the Raptors are. But I really do like these. To be honest with you, I really do recommend these. These are actually one of my favorite Knipex tools that I've just found out because I just got them. I wasn't actually even going to buy the Raptors because I had pliers wrenches and I use them a lot. But I said, you know, I'll give them a try. And turns out this is actually one of my favorite Knipex tools now. Now, I definitely want to thank you all for stopping by. And if you like content like this, make sure you like and subscribe. Also, I will leave affiliate links for both of these tools down in the description for both Amazon and KC Tool. And with that, I am out, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.